asalaamu calaykum waraxmatullaahi wabarakaatu idil ahaantiinba ku soo dhowaada madasha furan. Maanta waxaa inoo marti ah Naheed Nenshi oo dadka intooda badan ay garanayaan. Waxa uu u tartamayaa hoggaanka xisbiga NDP muddana waxa uu ahaa 3 jeerna loo doortay duqa magaalada Calgary. Naheed Nenshi, welcome to Somali media madasha furan.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for coming down. To begin with, a lot of people were expecting Naheed will go to federal. Why would you choose to run for Alberta and for NDP?
I was expecting that I would stay retired. I was having a good post-politics life.
Okay.
But you know what? And a lot of folks don't really understand the different orders of government and what they do. But the provincial order of government is the one that's responsible for the services that help us live as human beings. Healthcare, education, social services. To me, those are the really critical things that help improve quality of life beyond the work I was doing as mayor, which I still think is the most important. But we have a provincial government right now that is not particularly interested in helping people with their healthcare, with the education system, with quality of life. And I'm worried about it. I'm worried that the healthcare system won't be there when we need it, that the long-term care system is not there for our parents and our grandparents, and particularly that we're letting the public education system decline. And the thing our kids need more than anything is a strong educational grounding to set themselves up for the future.
Okay, we will touch down what you think the education needs now to be done and what the UCB is not doing. But to begin with, why NDP?
Well, you know, I have always resisted partisan politics. I've worn purple every day because purple, right now I'm wearing orange, because purple is red and blue. So it's a combination of the different parties' colors to show people that we shouldn't define ourselves by our parties, but by our common humanity. But it's the case right now that if you want to make a difference, you have to play the game that is before you. And in this case, it is a party system. And really, there are two parties in Alberta. There's the UCP and the NDP. And when I started exploring what the NDP was about, I learned, maybe a bit to my own surprise, that the NDP has become a party that I believe really represents the core values of people in Alberta. Strong healthcare, strong education, strong economy, fighting climate change. I think most people in Alberta feel the same way, and I think that they will find a home in the NDP.
Nobody is leaving, and everybody knows there's a lot of work to be done and taken from our place. Why would you think it's the right time and you're the right person?
So we have 3.5 years to the next provincial election. So whoever wins the leadership will be 3.5 years in opposition. Now, to be honest, I've never been in opposition, so we're going to have to see what that looks like. But we have to start building today to ensure that we elect a better government and get a better Alberta in 2027. So that means starting today. You know, the leadership is on Saturday, June the 22nd, and starting on Sunday, June the 23rd, we have to be working in every community across Alberta, talking to people, helping them understand that politics isn't just about defending what we have like the UCP does. It's actually about opening ourselves up to the possibility of something smarter and better. So let me give you an example. We have a system right now in Canada that relies on the labor of people who work below what they're worth. And these are mostly racialized women. They're mostly newcomers. They work at the front line in retail. They work at the front line in the healthcare system. They run the long-term care system. They are paid poorly. There is no hope for advancement. And so I don't think this is an unfamiliar story to anyone watching, but we put all our hope as immigrants into our kids. And we hope that our kids will have a better life than we do. But here's the thing. Everybody deserves to have a decent life. If you came to this country and you got through on the point system, for example, because you're a nurse, but you're not allowed to work as a nurse in Canada, well, that's a failure of our system. And if we can't offer all of our kids an outstanding public education system that puts them among the best people in the world, then that promise that we make to ourselves every day that our kids will have a better life than we have doesn't work. And I understand why people are frustrated and disillusioned with politics right now because they're worried their kids are not going to have a better life than they did, and we've got to fix that.
Speaking of better life that people used to have, many people are talking about when they say there's obstacles here, I can't move forward. People would say, well, you see Naheed Nenshi, he did very well. He became a professor at the university, he became a mayor, he's a successful person. Some will wonder, is there a difference between then when you're growing up and today?
That's the single most important question you could ask, and I'm glad you asked me because I grew up in a poor immigrant family. You know, we came to Canada. I was born in Canada, luckily.
Yes.
My mother was pregnant when they came. So I always say that I was born in Canada, but I was made in East Africa.
Okay.
I come from just below Somalia. I'm from Tanzania. And we didn't have anything growing up, but we had an excellent public education system. The healthcare system was always there for us. Don't get me wrong, we worked hard. We worked for every opportunity we got. But I was able to go to university on scholarship. I was able to get a great job right out of university. That was enabled me to pay for graduate school without having to take out student loans. That's harder and harder right now. University is more and more expensive. Our public education system is not serving the needs of people who are learning English, and we're not deeply engaging with newcomer communities to help them get set up for success. You know, the same way, I was lucky because my parents already spoke English. They came from a British protectorate, right?
Yes.
But for those who came and didn't speak English well, they used to go to like sweaty classrooms, you know, one Wednesday night a week for the LINK program, language instruction for newcomers to Canada, to try and learn English. And nothing has changed. And now there is a 2-year wait to get into the LINK program. And if you don't have English, you can't succeed. So these are the things we've got to really refocus on, particularly as we're inviting more and more newcomers here, which is a great thing. And we're blessed that people still want to come here. But we have to make sure that they've got the opportunity to live a good life when they get here.
daawadayaal waxaa inoo markaa Naheed Nenshi oo u tartamaya hoggaanka xisbiga NDP ee Alberta. Doorashadu waxay dhacaysaa ilaa iyo 22 bisha. Waxaan weydiinaynaa waxyaabaha ugu waaweyn ee isleeyahay doorashada uu ku geli doona. You have been campaigning a while and you knew what needs to be done in Alberta, but now that you have met so many people, you learn a lot. What are the most things that people are talking about?
Oh, whoa, it's a little windy here. Thank you so much for that question. So I've been on the campaign trail now about 4 months, and I'd been out of politics about 2 years prior to that. And so what's been great about the last 4 months is that I've been talking to people in every corner of the province. So for example, when I talk to people outside of Calgary and Edmonton, I learn a lot about what life is like in smaller communities. So the fact that they don't have enough doctors or nurses to keep their hospitals open, that even though their schools are smaller than they used to be because people are moving away, they still have 45 students in a classroom. And part of that is there's not enough money, but part of it is they can't get people to live there, so they can't attract teachers and doctors and nurses to come. I hear a lot about the lack of availability of broadband in small communities. That's not something I expected to hear. But you know, if you can't connect to the internet in this day and age, you can't be connected to the world around you. So we're learning a lot about small communities. I'm learning that the problems in healthcare and in education are even worse than I thought they were. In fact, probably the worst thing for me these days is talking to teachers. I normally love talking to teachers, but when they tell me about how bad things have gotten in the last 2 years, it just makes me realize how much the provincial government has defunded education.
Speaking of the defunding, UCP would say Alberta is still high ranking when it's coming the record of how students perform in education. So there's nothing wrong with the classroom.
Yeah, you know, and the only reason